people across this country are gonna rise up if they continue these illegal actions that are stripping our rights.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Good Faith Show. I'm your host, Andre Morton, and the Good Faith Show is only, there we go, right there. It's only exclusively on the ATP network. You can catch the ATP network on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Rockfin. Well, it's not Rockfin, I wish. YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and Twitter. And also, too, I got a better camera. Shit. Um, yeah, guys, I look rough as shit. Like I'm pretty sure in the comment section on YouTube, for example, I'm pretty sure people fuck with my camera quality. You got a $2 camera from Dollar General? No. I use the camera on my laptop, which is crappy. I don't know why. You pay all these money for these computers and they give you a camera that's from first generation iPhone. I just don't understand. But and then we're in 2025. Like, why do we still have computers with 4 gigabytes of RAM? Like, people go to these stores, buy these computers. Yeah, they're $100 or $150, but you're getting something that's lucky to last at least a year. Like, you need a computer that's at least 8 gigabytes. I'll tell anybody that get you a computer with at least 8 gigs. If you have to save a little bit more, if you got $400 or $500, like, I mean, to get a good computer, that's the best bet. Don't get no computer with 4 gigs of RAM, man. It's not gonna last. Um, so yeah, I have some shameless plugs. Um, Follow the ATP network crew right here on the bottom of your screen. We getting it done, and also too, um, you know, follow me on Red Note. um, at Andre X24, and also too, while you at it, why not like the video? It don't cost you a motherfucking thing, and it's free. There we go. It don't cost you a motherfucking thing, and it's free, guys. So yeah, like you know what I mean. Like the video. It don't cost you nothing. So yeah, the video you just saw, I'm finna share my screen. This is the first story I want to talk about. I don't think this will be a long stream today because I really ain't got that much to talk about. But it's so much shit I could talk about, but I'm not really interested in it. Like I could talk about Elon Musk, or as Mike Left Indy say, Muskrat. I could talk about Trump. I could talk about the Democrats being inactive, which I did. Like I don't want to talk about this shit. I want to actually talk about people talking about strategy and getting things done. You know what I mean? Like I could be clickbaity, but our YouTube channel isn't getting any traction right now, and then the only biggest platform is Twitter. Um, yeah, if you share my screen, um, let me see. Uh, there we go. Hold on. So hopefully I add the stage. It's kind of laggy. Oh, there you go. Holy shit. Took a minute. Okay, this is from Mundo Weish. It says ICE arrests Palestinian activists for involvement in Colombia protests. Um, it says in stark escalation in the Trump administration campaign against Palestine activism, on Saturday night, ICE agents raided the home of Mahmoud Kahlil. That's the guy that was on that video that was from Ariel Jasmine. That's who they was protesting for. Excuse me, guys, for type. And detained the activists who have been among the leaders of Gaza protests at Columbia University. So yeah, this is the guy right here, man. And I'm gonna read some of it. I'm not gonna read all of it. It says on Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security arrested Mohammed Khalil, a leader of the Gaza protests on Columbia University's campus, at his apartment in New York City. Khalil, who is Palestinian, is a permanent U.S. resident But Trump said that he was going he's gonna seek ice on you know people that protest against Gaza. So I mean I'm not surprised. Um, um, like he's wrongfully detained. Like if Khalil, I hope Khalil gets out, but if he do, I mean Muhammad gets out, but when he do, like man, I'll seek some fucking retribution. I tell you that. Let me continue. It says, uh, but according to his attorney, A.B. Greer, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) agents executed a State Department order to revoke his student visa and green card. Oh my God. Oh wow. Kahlil was a recent graduate of Columbia School of International and Public Affairs, have been a lead negotiator for student activists during the Gaza Solidarity encampment in the spring of 2024. I know some of you guys remember that. Like, that right there, like that entire encampment last year. I remember that. Like these kids could have been on spring break, like they could have been doing other things, but they chose to, you know, do something like what the Palestinians are going through, living in tents. So they decided to protest, stay in your tents. So that was real deep. It says here, according to a statement by the group Writers Against the War on Gaza, at 8:30 p.m., two plainclothes DHS agents first forced themselves into the home of Khalil and his pregnant wife, refusing to identify themselves. So um, I thought that you're supposed to have a warrant to come in somebody's house. Like, these could be anybody. Like, the fuck? Um, um, One agent eventually showed Khalil a warrant on his phone, which prompted his wife to find his green card to present to the officers. She returned advising them Khalil's legal status and presented them with Khalil's green card. Sorry, guys. Man, yawning so much. One agent was visibly confused and said on his phone he has a green card. Well, if he has a green card, then leave the guy the hell alone. The fuck? God, man, I hate these people. Um, Says the WAWG statement. However, after a moment, the DHS agent stated the State Department had revoked that too. Um, Khalil's wife then phoned his attorney, who spoke with the agents in an attempt to intervene. When Khalil's attorney requested that a copy of the warrant be emailed to her, the agent hung up the phone. Khalil's exact current whereabouts were unknown, with his attorney saying she is unsure if he be held at an ICE detention facility in New York or New Jersey. Um, Responding to a press inquiry from Dropsite News, DHS said reporters would need to reach out to the White House for answers. So yeah, Trump has something to do with this, obviously. And right here says Trump administration target Palestine protesters. Trump said this. So a Palestine protest is to Trump is an illegal protest. Yeah, no, like again, like I said when I made a video, how can protest be illegal? But let me continue. It says university and local police enacted consistent crackdowns on Palestine protesters under Biden, but there have been growing fears that the Trump administration will use government agencies to target students. On the campaign trail, President Trump told a group of pro-Israel donors that he will set the Palestine movement back by decades. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Marion Addison, yeah, because Sheldon Addison dead. I'm pretty sure he told Marion Addison and other APAC people that, Trump is a Zionist, like I said, like that ceasefire that's been broken by Israel like 8 times, I guess. Was a facade. No use. Like Trump want to turn Gaza to Trump Gaza. That's what he wants to do. So, yeah. But let me continue. One thing I do is any student that protests, I throw them out of the country. So he's talking about not only people with green cards and visas, he's talking about my ass if I protest or a college student that protests. Like, yeah. That one thing that get me about conservatives, they so full of shit. Like, um, they always say that the Democrats are anti-free speech. When the Democrats, like Biden, for example, has some kind of damn, I forgot. he was some kind of fact checking shit, and that shit got shot down. But yeah, he says, one thing I do is any student that protests, I put them out of the country. um, yeah. But let me continue. I keep switch the layout. Um, there are a lot of foreign students. As soon as they hear that they're going to behave, said Trump at the event. Shortly after he elected, Trump signed an executive order aimed at canceling visas of foreign students who participated in protests. Oh God. He said to all the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protest, he called it jihadist. Wow. Trump is so stupid, man. We put you on notice. Come 2025, we will find you and we will deport you, said Trump in a fact sheet released by the White House. I will also quickly cancel the student visas of all Hamas sympathizers on college campuses, which have been infested with radicalism like never before. First of all, Trump, um, nobody that's protesting against Israel is pro Hamas. Yeah, just typical gaslighting bullshit. Yeah, there's a few people that are pro Hamas. Yes, I'm pro Hamas. I say that out loud, but again, a lot of people seeing what happened, you know, since October the 7th. It's like, but Trump don't. Yeah, I get it. I don't know why I'm really just talking to myself at this point, but let me get back to it. I'm gonna read a few more. It says on Friday, the administration announced that it was canceling $400 million in federal grants and contracts to Columbia University over this um, alleged inability to protect Jewish students from harassment. First of all, again, I haven't heard that Jewish students are getting harassed. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I'm pretty sure if they were getting harassed by, as Trump said, Hamas sympathizers, we will know about it, right? I'm pretty sure. But let me continue with this idiot. Um, for years, pro-Israel lawmakers and advocates have fought to equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism in order to stifle criticism of Israel and suppress Palestine organizing. And it says, this is the last one read. Last week, Axios reported that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is launching an AI-assisted catch and revoke program to cancel the visas of foreign individuals who support Hamas. So basically, long story short, they're going to use facial recognition software to find out, you know, to find who these people are that have visas and cancel them and kick them out of the country. So yeah, I never want to hear from any right wing motherfucker that support Trump. Trump himself say that he's pro free speech, he's pro freedom. Cause you're not, because um, Hamas sympathizers don't have the right to protest. As I said again, if this was a pro Israel rally, nothing would be said. Trump probably on True Social tweeting his bullshit saying, all the people who stand, no, talk like Trump. What the fuck I'm doing? Other people standing up for Israel. All the beautiful protests out there using your free speech, supporting Israel. Now that's fine, but motherfuckers, you know, um, against Israel in support of Palestinian liberation. They're the worst scum on earth. To Trump and his APAC buddies and Marion Alice and all them motherfuckers. So yeah, man. Free Mahmoud Kahlil. I hope he gets released. He's been wrongfully detained. Like he's here. He got a green card. So and now in it, like, why are you revoking his green card? Like, he hasn't broke any laws. Oh God, I hate this country, man. All right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys. Before I get to the next story, be sure to like the video. Hit the like button. It's free. It don't cost you a damn thing, guys. So yeah, it's free. Free. It don't cost you a damn thing, okay? Man, I love this new camera, man. Wow. Um, wow. This camera's amazing. But anyway, like, I look like fucking shit. I already an ugly motherfucker, but when you have a camera that's 480p, like, Oh God, but yeah. Anyway, now let me get to this. Chris Hedges, just talking about his thoughts on Trump trying to end the war in Ukraine, which I mean, like that's crazy. Like, so you saying that it's like the Republicans and Democrats switch sides. So you telling me that Democrats want the war to continue because we gotta fight against Russia, even though like a lot of people don't understand. Like the normie person that's on there saying Putin's a dictator, Putin, Russia started it, all that. They're not wrong. Russia did invade Ukraine, but how Russia got to invade Ukraine, like that's what they don't understand. Is I think our job as leftists, to educate us. Like that's why I told people follow Left Independent on Twitter, Left Indie. Like that guy, he comes with receipts, man. Like, but anyway, let's get to this. For to play it and pause it and give my thoughts. Chris Hedges, he's the GOAT. So here we go.
That many in the mainstream left are appalled at Trump Ukraine conflict. What are they getting wrong? And do you think Trump may have walked us back to the left's embrace of the war with Russia and Ukraine, or embrace of Ukraine? And maybe that's because I was in Eastern Europe and Central Europe and when the Berlin Wall came down, so I was acutely aware of the promises that have been made to was Secretary of State, that NATO would not be expanded beyond the borders of a unified Germany. And with the collapse of the Soviet Union and this fantasy on the part of American imperialists that we now had an...
Yeah, when you keep moving NATO closer to the border of Russia, of course, I mean, Russia has the right to, like, have their eyes bucked out of their head, like, whoa, nah, oh, back up now, back up. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I mean, like NATO, Russia most likely probably sees NATO as a threat, right? Rightfully so. So yeah, but let me continue. Like, shout out to Chris Hedges, he bringing the facts.
unipolar world. In essence, the United States could do whatever it could with the fact the arms could make billions have back to make their militaries compatible with NATO. We violated all of those promises, and you
Shit about Ukraine, man. They don't care about Ukraine. They don't care about Ukraine, man. Like you see Trump motherfucking like asking Ukraine for their mineral, their resources, and shout out to Left India. Like to get those resources, you need special equipment, what we don't have, and obviously they're gonna use our taxpayers to make this equipment, probably a military industrial complex. Yeah, just like yeah, like sacrifice Ukraine to fight our little mini proxy war because we know that Russia will whoop our ass. Like Russia will whoop our ass. If we like head to head war with Russia, like it's China too. Like China definitely whoop our ass. Like nobody want to say that, but it's true. Like and then like what Left India always say on the A&M podcast, guys, watch that too. It's also on the ATP network. Like our military is under like what he said 70-80% capacity, like because COVID disables you, and we just letting COVID spread like wildfire along with the other viruses. So, yeah, I could go into all that, but again, like, yeah, let me let him continue.
Ukraine 3 different times. First, of course, by Napoleon, then the First and the Second War. And there's a that was written across the political spectrum. A division incorporating Ukraine into NATO is something all Russians find unbearable. And think about it. We're kind of baiting China, but think about if Chinese warships were going up and down along the California coast, or if in the old Soviet Union, Mexico became part of the Warsaw Pact, how we would react. Now, that doesn't excuse the invasion, which was a war crime. It was a war
Like how would we feel if China, yeah, like China influence in Mexico, like we'll fucking we guns fucking blazing. Exactly. It's fucking exactly, man. Um, let them continue.
crime. On the other hand, it was a completely preventable war. Persecution of ethnic Russians in Ukraine was real. The ascendancy of fascist Bandera was Jewish. So, yeah, it was a war that never needed to have happened. But very early on in the war, Henry Kissinger, of all people, who, of course, I loathe, correctly, the war has to be stopped. There has to be an exchange of land peace. Efforts to end the conflict, although I watched the clip of Trump and Vance with Zelensky, and I felt it was appalling. I mean, the thugs. I think that the motivation of the Trump administration to end the war is because they admire Putin and the democratic system he set up. It's one they want to set up. But all totalitarian systems seek to
Yeah, man. Like he said, like seeing the left, like yeah, some people I fuck with too. Like they rhetoric about this war is just crazy to me. Like how you don't want peace? Like I'm not a fan of Trump. Like he said, I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan. I don't like Trump. Like Trump, like Trump do things that benefits him. You know what I mean? So yeah, like we're almost done. It's just a short 4 minute clip, but telling the truth, man. Like so yeah, y'all. That was Chris Hedges. Sorry about that. I probably had a little bit technical difficulty, man. Like I thought I got this new internet, fiber internet. I thought this stuff would not cause trouble, but apparently it does. But yeah, man, shout out to Chris Hedges. Like, again, like I said this too, man. Like, I don't respect war leaders. Like, I don't respect Putin, but I respect the part of where like Russian people are taken care of. Like, they have things that we don't motherfucking have. So yeah, man. Yeah. I'm just saying. So okay. Let me get to the next story. All right, guys. Before I get to this next story, which is a banger, be sure to give the video a like. Shit. Give us a like, thumbs up. So, like the video, it helps us out in the algorithm. Don't cost you a thing. So, Kshama Sawant, she was at a worker strike back event um, last month, and she does the damn thing. Like Kshama Sawant practices what she preach. She don't be online like some of these leftists and think they know everything and just how some of these leftists is, man, online. They just read theory and they think that's enough. Like there ain't nothing wrong with reading theory. Like I read a little bit theory. Maybe I need to read a little bit more. I'm not. I don't consider myself a left communist. I don't consider myself all that. But I think reading and educating yourself is an important key part of knowing what the fuck you talking about. Because sometimes if nobody want to debate me because I'm still new to this shit. But let's say if I had to debate with someone, maybe some from Marx or Lenin or somebody like that. It could be very useful, for that debate or something like that. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Kshama Sawant. She does the damn thing. She's always working. Um, so yeah, here she go. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because it's 51 minutes long with her speaking truth bombs, but yeah, here we go.
And watching over live stream. And system are in last year in the elections of all are booted out or lost a big share of the vote. This was the first time of records. Here in the US, the approval rating of the former incumbent Democratic Party is currently in the rubber. Nearly half of registered Democratic Party voters approve of how Democrats in Congress are handling themselves in present crisis. The vote of working people established is fundamental bankrupt capitalism and its. The cost of living crisis, the skyrocketing rents, the undermining of the public services working people rely on, the death of the American dream. Working people are fed up with going broke just to buy groceries or pay their rent.
So yeah, y'all, I'm back. I'm sorry about that, man. My internet been acting a fool today. Yeah, like coming back on what Shamba so once said, like she's right. Like um, capitalism is the reason for your problems. Like late stage capitalism, as they call it. Like it's not a trans person. It's not immigrants. Like those people are just trying to fucking survive. Like they're not the reason why your job isn't paying you a thriving wage, as JB Font says, or a living wage, what everybody else say. They're not the reason why you can't pay your rent, or your rent takes almost your whole paycheck and then you're left with nothing. That's not the reason why, guys. Um, like it's capitalism, man. Like look what Elon fucking them doing. Like they are looting the fucking treasury, bro. So yeah, let me get back to this. Uh,
Wealth continues to be rapidly amassed at wealth by $542 billion, $1 trillion in wealth. Does not mean working people are giving Trump permission to run roughshod over them either. It
ah, jeez, I don't know what in the hell's going on, man. Um, I'm back. There we go. My camera froze on me, so I had to unplug my camera and go back to my cheap ass laptop camera. Lord have mercy. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to see what Kshama Sawant said, man. Uh, all right, start here.
Working people over to a fight back. Because we have seen that on issue after issue, whether it is raising the minimum wage or taxing the rich or Medicare for all or ending the genocide in Gaza, American working people are more progressive than ever before.
Yep.
Some of the states that voted for Trump last year also passed ballot initiatives for a $15 minimum wage, paid sick leave, union support, and abortion rights. And a recent poll confirms that there is not majority support for the bulk of Trump's anti-worker agenda and the pet projects of the Republican Party. A majority opposed Trump's brutal attacks on federal employees.
But I don't understand. It's like if most of his base support that stuff, then you think they'll know that he's anti like all that stuff. But what she just said. So yeah, like that always confuses me. Like, see, Trump pretends to be a populist. Like, he'll call out, Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris for being warmongers and all that shit. But at the end of the day, Trump's a warmonger too. And yeah, Trump is anti-worker just like Kamala Harris will be. Like, both, neither one of them are fucking pro-worker. They don't give a fuck about the workers. They both let homeless people. They don't care about the homeless. They don't care about the veterans. Even though, Biden claimed to be. He always say during his speeches, God bless the troops. But yeah, bro, like those troops become veterans and they get rejected. Like they get thrown away like they're pieces of trash. So yeah, like both of these parties is no good for the worker. Like let it continue.
A majority of Americans are vehemently opposed to Trump's plan to permanently extend his 2017 tax cuts for the rich, tax cuts that Biden continued. Large majorities oppose eliminating the repayment plan.
Like, how different is the Democrats from the Republicans? Like, Obama kept Bush tax cuts in place, and Biden kept Trump's tax cuts in place. Like, how are they different? Like, man, you can't have a liberal or conservative argue with you, like acting like they both different. Like, bro, they the same. One side puts culture war bullshit on you, and the other side, think all Republicans are fucking MAGA or fucking white supremacists, which they're not. Like, a lot of these people are just regular people. They've just been misinformed. But let me continue.
That helps student loan borrowers and funding cuts for federal student loans and grants. Over 80% oppose cuts to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, commonly known as food stamps, and a whopping 90% of Americans are against cuts to Medicare and Medicaid.
Yep.
Trump's own approval ratings, while higher in the past, are basically breaking even. About an equal number approve and disapprove. And this is during his so-called honeymoon period. These approval ratings have nowhere to go but down. But we should not expect that it will happen overnight. We should not be complacent. And in the meantime, Trump and the billionaires are going for broke. They want to do maximum damage at this moment before a serious opposition to their assault develops and before the real impacts of the damage they're doing becomes clear. The main success of this billionaire in the White House has been tapping into the widespread anger at the establishment, and in this, he's been handed a humongous gift by the rotten Democratic Party and its endless betrayals of working people, which allowed him to get re-elected after he left office as the most unpopular president in modern American history. The huge irony is that Trump is the one capitalizing on working class anger, and the anger that is actually at billionaires and the rich, and the very same class that Trump himself belongs to and represents. Politicians and the corporate media were stunned by the show of support on social media for Luigi Mangione, The
Yeah,
man accused of
Luigi.
killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year, they were even more shocked when polling showed that this was not some fringe phenomenon.
Yeah, and this is why they stopped showing Luigi Mangione on the news. Like, to get his news, like, you have to really dig deep to find any news, any updates on him, because they realize that, holy shit, these people actually like him. What he did, allegedly did. Um, like, yeah, people are fed up. And, they know that people are fed up. They know. They know that people are fed up. But the thing about it is, like, let's put more cultural bullshit into the news. So, yeah, to get us divided. Because think about it. The people that watch that shit versus the people that don't watch that shit, we have more in common with each other than a billionaire. Like, we don't have nothing in common with a billionaire. So, yeah, let it continue.
But a strong majority sentiment, nearly 70%. This anger represents a historic opening to fight for fundamental change if it can be redirected into a working class movement. Killing individual CEOs is no solution. Thompson has already been replaced with another blood-sucking executive. And if such killings were to continue, they would be used as a pretext to attack workers and increase the powers of the police. Instead, we need to build powerful mass movements of the millions against the billionaires. And it's
Yeah, I get it. Like, a lot of people, saying, Luigi going rogue like that is not the solution. They're not wrong. They're not wrong at all. But I let it continue.
it's only through working class power that we can win a different kind of society. Our goal must be to both fight for radical change in the present and to bring down the billionaires and their system, capitalism. Unfortunately, alongside the fury of working people, the most prominent feature of this political moment is the near total vacuum of clear leadership on the left and in the labor movement. There is a profound shortage of leaders prepared to break with the political parties of the rich. We've seen betrayals one after another of these so-called progressives. Bernie Sanders, AOC and the Squad, and progressive labor leaders like Sean Fain.
Check this.
Yeah, I know what. No, Bree had Jamal Bowman on. I'm gonna cover that next because Jamal Bowman is just a pain in the ass. Like, that dude is just so. Yeah, but that's why his ass is not in the Congress anymore. But you know what he said? Like, he basically said, long story short, about forced to vote. Like, you know, it wouldn't work. Like, duh. Like, we knew that you weren't gonna get Medicare for all. Then, Jamal, it's about fucking, like, leverage, like gaining leverage on it, because people want it. The American people want it. Just the problem is that it's the health insurance lobby that's don't want the Congress to pass it. So yeah, man, I gotta skip this ad right quick. Give me a second.
This out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right.
Both Bernie and AOC played a central role in bringing Trump to power. They uncritically supported Biden and then rushed to endorse Harris. They abandoned Medicare for all. They abandoned the fight for a $15 minimum wage. They could have organized mass rallies on either of those demands and put massive pressure on both parties and built.
Could have forced the vote, and then once you did that, once they supposedly put the bill on the floor for a vote, then you could have built momentum out of it. Did press conferences, did fucking, rallies, like she said, like, could have built momentum, but no. The only thing they fight for is a committee seat, and also they got played and lost 2 of their squad members. So yeah, I don't feel sorry for them, especially Jamal.
A new party in the process. Instead, they put a premium on their peaceful relations with the elite, squandered a historic opportunity, and carried out a historic betrayal. There is a meme going around of Bernie Sanders' action figure that has a stamp on it saying sold out. I'm not
Sold
sure
out.
if there's one for AOC. In any case, that meme is the epitaph of the Bernie movement. Sadly, it was a predictable ending.
Yeah, like even, like Bernie had so many fucking people behind him. Like that one thing that drive me crazy. Like Kshama Sawant Bernie at the time. I'm pretty sure Chris Hedges did. I did. Other people I know did. Like he had a movement and he sold out to the demo dummies because I still like this is my suspension. Like allegedly I think they got a P tape on Bernie. Like Bernie said something he shouldn't have said or he did something he should have did. Like they got something hanging over his head. Him and that fake ass, he copping out worker strike back, basically. Like, fight the oligarchy. No, fight the oligarchy. Bernie Sanders. Oh, God.
Like many of you, was part of Sanders' movement, and we were correct to be because millions were coming together, but some of us did so with our eyes open. From the beginning, myself and the socialists who are part of revolutionary workers today noted the fundamental mistake of funneling people into the Democratic Party. We warned about the nature of this strategy of a political revolution against the billionaire class from inside a party that is owned lock, stock, and barrel by that same billionaire class.
Yep.
The most recent stunt by Bernie Sanders, this so-called tour against the oligarchs, is also telling. Even at this moment, Sanders is trying to redirect people back towards the Democratic Party. One of his 3 central planks is reform the party. Reform the party? Seriously? This party.
Reform the party. Oh my God, yeah, that's what he's going around trying to do. Like his tour, I guess. Like, yeah, bro. Like the same party. Like that's crazy. Bernie is such a damn simple man. He a simp, man. Like they don't want you to win. They don't like you, Bernie. Hillary Clinton blamed you for the reason why she lost, and your ass still campaigned for her. Like Bernie, come on, man, wake up, bro. Like, I mean, you're lost cause. Like, I'm not studying you no more. But god damn, man, reform the Democratic Party. How is that possible, Bernie? How can you reform something that's meant to work the way it's supposed to work? They're meant the way to work. The way it's meant to work, Bernie. You can't reform it, bro. You gotta dismantle it. Or get another party that's not bought by billionaires. How about that? Like the Green Party or PSL. Like those parties ain't perfect either. Like you can find flaws in every fucking party, but the Democratic Party, yeah. The same party that's want to continue this war with Ukraine and Russia, you can't reform that. It's going, Bernie. It's going in the abyss.
That has stabbed us all in the back 1,000 times over? I don't think so. Our job is to burn the Democratic Party to the ground. To destroy any remaining illusions in it, in any idea that it represents workers or oppressed people. We need a new mass party for the working class and the oppressed. The organizations here like Workers Strike Back, the Green Party, and all of us, we have an important role to play in that process. But that will not happen so long as lesser evilism rules the day and until the utterly failed strategy of voting for one billionaire party so that another billionaire party can win is abandoned. We need to build an organized, unified movement of working people to systematically take on the rich who run society and undermine their ability to rule.
Yep. That's true. Facts.
We have a lot of wind at our backs. There is a major opening for working class politics. But we also have real obstacles. We face the absolute disaster that the left and labor leadership have become, and along with that, all misleaders. So we need to return to the basics, and we need to get something straight. First, this system does not belong to us. Capitalism is a system of rule by the rich and solely for the rich.
I mean it right there, but yeah, watch the rest of it yourself, guys. It's on the Chris Hedges report on YouTube. Kshama Sawant, we must vote against the ruling class. Kshama Sawant, man, Kshama Sawant, man, like she could be a leader of an organization or a movement, man. Like I think Kshama Sawant she got the perfect balance of everything. She's lovable, she's lovable too. And she has that, she know when to really go in on these motherfucking oligarchs, man. Because, like, for real, man, like, we have to start our own movement. Like, the government, the gist of that speech was, the government is not going to come and save you. You got a guy that's supposed to have a movement behind him. He abandoned his own people. And yeah, you have a party that doesn't give a shit about you. So, yeah, guys, that's why I always keep preaching. Like, I gotta start doing action, too. But we gotta form our own shit. We gotta, we gotta build our own movements, man. Because the government not gonna try to save us. So, all right, guys, on to the next clip. All right, guys, one last topic here. Then I'm gonna end it because I'm hungry, I'm tired, and yeah. So, all right, guys, be sure to like the goddamn video. It's free. Don't cost you a motherfucking thing now. Like the video. Please like the video, guys. Help out a brother. A brother needs your help, okay? I need your help. I need your helps. Alright, guys. So, Brihna Joy Gray, man. I gotta say, this woman is one of the most intelligent. She's a bright spot on the left, man. These days, if you call her the left, like she's speaking truth to power, man. She did this interview. What's the name of this podcast? Doomscroll podcast or whatever. I've never even heard of these people before, but YouTube suggested it to me, which is rare. Like YouTube suggesting lefty content. Like what in the hell going on with YouTube lately? But anyway, so yeah, like not gonna play the whole thing. The one thing I like about YouTube, I give YouTube credit. Like they have like chapters you can go through, like that helps out a brother that doesn't commentates on things. Like thank you for that feature, YouTube. I wish you stop suppressing fucking leftist accounts, but if you stop doing that, like give us a fair shake along with the right, then maybe YouTube won't be so bad. But YouTube is it's bought by the deep state. I ain't gonna get into all that shit. But anyway, all right, guys. So like I'm gonna play a few parts. This is her talking about force to vote, which to me, like if the squad went along with force to vote and did it, like things would be different. Like people wouldn't have a disliking for the squad like we do now. So yeah, I'm gonna play it, and I'll play a few other parts of this thing too. Watch it yourself, guys. It's a good interview. I watched it the whole thing myself, so I got a better idea of what's going on. So, all right, guys, here we go.
Here, but I promise this will connect in a moment. You supported Force the Vote.
I did.
Alongside Jimmy Dore. You caught a lot of heat for that position.
I did.
Seems to be a recurring theme in the podcast. If you would recap for our listeners what Force the Vote was, in case they don't remember that,
Sure.
and what you hope to accomplish with that.
Sure. I love to point out that I first heard about Force the Vote watching Sam Cedar's show. And knowing about the acrimony between Sam Cedar and Jimmy Dore, when I heard Sam Cedar say that there was a good idea coming from Jimmy Dore, my little ears perked up.
Okay, I'm listening. Yeah.
How now, brown cow? And I went over and I heard the proposition, which was that because of the narrow margins in the House at the time, that the number of squad members exceeded the margin that Democrats basically needed all of the squad members to be on board for the Democrats to ever win anything in the House. That means that much like Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, these people that we're told had the Biden administration in a vice grip, the progressives similarly could dictate the agenda of the Democratic Party or at least hold it up so that nothing happens until there are some concessions that are made. And from my perspective, the real beauty of force the vote is that while frequently the argument is made that while the right can play hardball because they don't want good things to happen, they're happy if government doesn't work, they want government to be small, and Democrats want good things to happen, so they can't just be obstructionists. We need to like play nice so we can get the ball going. The stakes of force the vote weren't some spending package and kids getting health care or anything of the like. It was simply Nancy Pelosi's ability to be Speaker of the House. That's it.
Right.
And we now know, because 2 years later, Republicans did the exact force the vote strategy and were able to get a number of concessions, that this strategy would have worked.
The strategy, yeah, exactly. That's one thing that drives me crazy. Like, you got Cenk Uygur, one example. The only reason why I believe Cenk didn't go along with it because him and Jimmy Dore had a falling out. Yeah, we know about that. But again, like I said again, like the strategy would have worked. Like they made Kevin McCarthy the new brass of the Republican Party. I forgot what they call themselves. Freedom Caucus. Yeah, the Freedom Caucus. I guess, the Freedom Caucus had more kahunas to stand up to Kevin McCarthy and say, hey, we want this, this, and this. Your ass won't be Speaker of the House until we get all these concessions for you, motherfucker. And all we asked the squad to do back in 2020 was to fucking force the vote for a vote for Medicare for all. We didn't say, hey, Medicare for all gotta pass. We didn't say, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. What is this? Put the vote on the floor so we can find out who the fuck ain't for Medicare for all. Some of the motherfuckers say they are. They just cosplaying. Like, these people don't, like, they get money from United Healthcare and that. Now, how you gonna be for Medicare for all when they tell you what to do? You that bitch. Like, but anyway, let me continue.
At the time, however, while there were many people in support, not just Jimmy Dore, I think it's important to point out, Crystal Ball, Cornel West, Chris Hedges, a lot of people who were frankly held in very high esteem on the left, but whose voices I think were ignored because it was very convenient to say, this is a Jimmy Dore idea, he's a polarizing figure, this is an excuse for me not to buy in.
Yeah.
There was what felt like a really sort of irrational rejection of it that was very personality driven. At the time, I wrote a piece for Current Affairs.
And another problem too that I have with people too is that Fifi's heard over Jimmy Dore said about them, whatever, or they just don't like Jimmy Dore as a person. Like, Force the Vote is bigger than Jimmy Dore. I'm not a fan of Jimmy Dore anymore, but I remember Jimmy Dore said one time on his show that like he wanted Cenk to be a part of it too as well. He said he'll step aside. He won't, fuck with it no more, Cenk, because even Jimmy Dore at the time realized that this movement was bigger than him. So yeah, like thinking about one person when it's supposed to be an all-around effort to get the squad to do that it's bonkers to me. But let me
Bears attempting to lay out the strategy separate and apart from Jimmy Dore. So okay, fine, you hate his guts. I don't know what happened back in the TYT days. I'm newer on the scene than that. But here's how you can understand this without ever having to click on one of his videos, right?
Yeah.
And in response to that, people were saying a lot of misinformation. Some of the most visceral opponents of it were opposing it on the basis, for example, that Kevin McCarthy would become Speaker of the House if the progressives withheld their vote for Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, Cenk Uygur said that shit. I remember that. Yeah, like deeply unserious. And I remember, I remember this shit crazily. I remember Cenk said the squad need to take that energy and instead of forcing a vote that won't get nowhere. Let's put our energy towards fucking fight for 15, which again the Democrats didn't want to happen. Like Christian Cinema, remember that? Oh God. And now, TYT see why they ratings, they subscriber base is leaving them. They see why. Jesus.
Which couldn't happen because you don't need, it's not a bare majority that you would need. You need over 50% of Congress. So unless Democrats voted affirmatively for a Republican speaker would not have defaulted into the position, even if they had gotten more votes than whatever alternative Democratic candidate were in the mix, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And again, we saw exactly this play out 2 years later with the Republicans. No matter how many times Kevin McCarthy wasn't speaker, Hakeem Jeffries didn't magically become speaker, right? That's not how it works. And there was historical precedent of this having happened like 100 times back in the early part of the 20th century. This could have been a real opportunity for progressives to show that they do actually have power. We're not looking for some time 20 years in the future where we've gotten 50 more AOCs in Congress. Right now, today, you can demonstrate the value of fighting for more AOCs in Congress, because even with 4 or 5 or 6 of them, they can have the Biden administration in a vice grip. And you can show Nancy Pelosi, this woman who's made your life hell, who made you cry on the floor over the Iron Dome vote,
Oh my God.
who whipped you all
Yeah.
into shape, who you're cowering around calling Mama Bear because of God knows what she told you behind the scenes. You can demonstrate to her that you have a little bit of power on your own. And they chose not to do that for various reasons. I think a lot of it was interpersonal. And it was clear, I think, to a lot of us that it was a kind of a once in a, I'm going to say generational opportunity, but it's certainly once in a term style of opportunity.
Yeah. I think this gets at a contradiction that we have in today's left. Maybe it's been there for much longer, but people will say that we need this overwhelming majority to accomplish our goals. And they'll also say that I refuse to share a table with anyone who doesn't share my exact specific beliefs. And there are elements of Jimmy Dore's audience that are ugly, or not people that I may personally want to hang out with. He has a lot of conservative audience, a lot of people with crank ideas, but this seemed like a moment to, scalpel approach, really exert some power in an effective way. But people,
Yeah, like the guy that asked the question. My thing about that is that you ain't got to have a bill with these people. My thing is, hey, I mean, Jimmy Dore is questionable in terms of where he lies politically these days. But again, it's like, if you can get some of his, like, let's say they was on the right, and then you can possibly change them. Like, not everybody on the right is a white supremacist. Like, I just had to say that as a side note, because yeah, like I get what he's saying. Like, yeah, like, are you sure you want to work with some of the extreme right there with Jimmy? Like, but yeah, but anyway, let me fast forward. Let's talk about. Well, I'm gonna talk about Democratic versus the third parties right quick. Yeah, here we go.
Faith Podcast.
The idea that there was going to be an ability to take over the Democratic Party, to use traditional political means to reform the party, to pull it back to the left, was really undermined by what we saw and how the Bernie campaigns in 2016 and 2020 played out. And I'm not someone who I think jumped prematurely to these kinds of conclusions. It's part of why I sometimes become frustrated when people might want to write me off as a bad actor, or someone who is, I don't know, as part of her grift is to have a pessimistic read of politics. To the contrary, I worked for the Bernie campaign in 2020. Right. I like to say I gave that man the best years of my 30s. And for what, right? Like, I was really committed to the project. I'm someone who only, left the law and entered into.
Bree, to her credit, she worked for the Bernie campaign. So she was like inside of it. Like, she know what happens inside of the campaign. Even like as us, like the people that supported Bernie twice. Some people, like Misty, for example, she said she supported Bernie in 2016, then she knew he was full of shit after that. Like, we should have listened to Misty Winston. Great example of why, people tell you, like, hey, this guy, he's suspect. Don't support him. Like, he did the shit again. Like, he supported Hillary. We looked over that. Then 2020, you gonna run, supporting him again. Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, like sometimes I really wish, like, us on the left, like, we should have, the money we donated to Bernie, which was millions of dollars, we should have took that money, applied it towards mutual aid and organizing. Back then, like, I think we'll be in a better place. Like, the left together, like, left right now, man, it's a clusterfuck. Like, you got people cosplaying the left. You got some people that's, want to microanalyze everything, do purity tests on people. It's crazy, but I'll let her continue. Here we go.
The politics, precisely because of how much I believed in the project in 2016, and because I felt compelled to start writing and begin a journalism career, precisely because of the media institutions, of journalists' unwillingness to engage substantively and accurately with what the movement and the spirit of the movement was all about. So I feel like I have given myself in many, many ways. I made some sacrifices in order to try that particular path. But I think I had an up-close view, and many other people had less proximate views of how the Democratic Party is willing to organize itself very effectively and efficiently to defeat a left insurgency in a way that it seems not to have the same appetite to actually defeat the right.
Exactly. Like somebody said this one time, I think in 2020, like the Democrats will go far to defeat their left counterpart rather than defeat the Republicans. Which that shows you, like I told people last year, the election last year, like if they wanted to win, you would not run Kamala Harris, despite Joe Biden picking her. Like, you know, a lot of people said, well, they didn't have time for a primary and all that stuff. He waited too long to drop out. Nah, he had time. Yeah, but y'all don't care about winning. Like that's why some of the half of the Democratic Party wearing pink, holding up signs saying, Bernie, must steal and Trump is a liar. Like, yeah, y'all not serious, bro. Like, y'all don't want Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders is, well, he's supposed to be anti-establishment. Like, y'all don't want an anti-establishment candidate. Y'all want somebody that's pro-establishment, pro Wall Street, pro military industrial complex, pro big pharma. Like, y'all want all that shit. So let me continue.
And when you see over the course of years opportunities that were available to the small number of people who did get elected into Congress, who were progressives, who were the Justice Democrats candidates that did support Bernie Sanders and ostensibly espouse his values, the unwillingness to actually be adversarial with the Democratic Party demonstrated that the Democratic Party changes you. It's not the other way around. And the Biden administration in particular, seeing 4 years of what it meant to have, or at least 2 years of what it meant to have all of Congress and the White House, and to still have the messaging be, he just can't do anything. It's not his fault. He just can't do anything. At a certain point, fine, I'm convinced. Democrats in power can't do anything. We have a lot that we want to do on the left.
Right.
So then how do you get that done? And it simply doesn't seem to me that it's possible to do it by electing enough AOCs. Because we've seen in really recent history some pretty bad examples of how AOC is willing to bend the knee and completely undermine her own political project.
Did anyone blame you for Trump's victory because you voted for Jill Stein this time?
I mean, it's like white noise. People are always going to say that sort of thing. First of all, I live...
Exactly, white noise, exactly. Like, yeah, people blame me. I'm shocked my mama didn't blame me. Like, mama know, like my mama, for example, she know that I'm over the Democratic Party. Like, she blamed me. No. When she blamed me? Fuck. No, mama never really blamed me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, I have a brain fart. Like, people will blame you. Hey, people actually blame me. My auntie blamed me, for Kamala Harris winning. You know, my auntie has the audacity to call me a misogynist because I wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm like, I voted for a woman, so I can't be misogynist. I vote for Jill Stein because Jill Stein had my best interests at heart. Like, Kamala Harris, have she fucking she had a reparations bill proposed? Has she had a black agenda? No. So that right there was enough for me to say, no, fuck her, fuck the Democratic Party. They don't care nothing about black people. So yeah, liberals blame the Palestinians. Like, they wish bad upon the Palestinians for not winning. Like, you deserve wherever you get, going back to Starbucks. Like, that's the Democratic base. And I'm a fool to say I'm willing to work with these people. Oh God. When people say shit like that, they're not gonna work with you. Like, that's just like saying a racist who wanna work with my black ass. They're not gonna work with me. So, all right, here we go.
Live in DC, so it's a laughable proposition that anybody I voted for mattered in any way.
Sure.
But I think particularly given the stakes of this election and the existence of a genocide happening in the background, I think really complicated the lesser of two evil arguments that were being made, at least within the left community. Of course, you know, vote blue no matter who Democrats are going to say what they're going to say. There's that classic video of people leaving the DNC laughing and jeering and rolling their eyes at pro-Palestine activists and protesters. That was so disgusting and demoralizing to watch. But within the left community, whereas in 2020, I think I got a lot more pushback for voting green, or even in 2016, voting for Jill Stein in that election.
Yeah, me too.
And this time around, I think most people on the left were so frustrated with the options available to them, felt like it was such a personally, ethically troubling situation for themselves to vote for Kamala Harris, that I didn't get as much of that, to be honest.
Right.
And I think the numbers show that a lot of folks, for whatever reason, ended up staying home because they were similarly demoralized by the options on the table.
This end of the left liberal alliance.
All right, now I'm going to skip to her getting fired on the Hill, because that's very important. I think that's probably what more people want to talk about. So here we go.
We tell ourselves that people to whom bad things happen must not have been working hard, or they deserve it in some ways. And when good things befall us, we say it's because we were exceptional in these ways. And the things change, the kind of like theory of change argument is that when the gap between the world as it is and the world as it should be becomes so huge that we can no longer rationalize why we have what we have and others don't, or why we're struggling and others have so much. And as a media actor, I think that part of my responsibility is heightening those contradictions so we get people out of their apathy and get to a point where they feel like they cannot enjoy what they have. I mean, sorry, be a downer, but you cannot enjoy, you cannot persist under the status quo.
Let's discuss, you mentioned your dear libertarian friend. I used to get my news from you from, let's say, like September of 2022 up until, I believe, June 7th of 2024. Did something happen there where you left the show abruptly? Like, seems very curious.
The Hill never actually said why they weren't having me back. I think the email that I got...
Hey, we know why she got fired. Like, they used that. Yeah. She about to get into it. Let me let her talk. Let me let her cook. Yeah, we know why she got fired.
Posted on Twitter, and it was very minimal. My name was spelled wrong. Thanks, champs. And it seemed obvious, though, to me that it was because of my coverage of Gaza. There had been a lot of internal pressure over it for, you know, the eight months or so since October 7th, but especially ramping up for probably the 6 months before the end, when there was a complete overhaul in the kind of the show staff.
Right.
A new producer, an exodus of a lot of the old guard, and some others who were fired. So that basically, between January and when I was fired, there was nobody who had been working on the show the previous year except for Robbie.
Oh, wow.
And like my makeup artist.
Yeah.
I miss you, Diana. So, yeah, it was very clear that there was internal pressure for Robbie to balance out my takes. As a libertarian, a lot of libertarians are not pro-war in Gaza.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, there was pressure to provide a counterbalance. And I think that put pressure on Robbie, who didn't necessarily want.
And see, like right there, like we know the Hill is corporate, right? The Hill is not independent media, but like, yeah, they tell you what to say. Like, hey, you know, she's anti-Israel, so you got to play the pro-Israel part. Like, so maybe by this I look at Robbie different. So, but again, it's like if I were Robbie, I'd stand up and say, nah, man, I don't want to get into that shit. But hey, you know, it is what it is.
Want to even be having the conversation at all, who would rather have not talked about it at all, to provide a rather indefensible pushback to straight reporting. So let me be more specific in terms of what the pressure looked like. For one, we were told that our radars, which are our direct camera essays, we had complete editorial control over. When there started to be pushback on what we did in segments, and I was told we can do like one Gaza block a day, we did about 8 to 10 blocks. You know, there were like 10 stories you could do about Gaza. And all of the Gaza stories were very well performing as well. So I would have my hobby horses that I would want to talk about from time to time that didn't perform well, and I had to kind of take it on the chin. Okay, we can only talk about this, labor organizing story so many times.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers
and,
game.
The ad revenue is like really, that's what pays the bills.
That's
so
what,
doing
I get that.
segments that pay well is kind of important. It's
I get
interesting
that.
they wouldn't want to do
But
that.
Gaza was different, right? Gaza was one that I cared about and also performed well, and I was being told we had to basically get everything in one block. So consequently, I had negotiated out of doing.
See, guys, Hill was on. They were trying to suppress Gaza content. Of course, like I'm not surprised. Like, I guess they tried so many things, because they get, like she said, they'll get pressure from the big bosses saying that, hey, we can't be talking about, Israel's, Israel causing all this devastation to these Palestinians, and all we gotta suppress that content, like suppression every level, guys. Have Robbie to pretend to counter argue her points, and then cut down, like you can only talk about Gaza for like 10 minutes or some shit. Oh God. But yeah, let me let it continue.
Doing as many radars. I started doing them again because I could have editorial control and talk about Gaza and get as many stories in my radar as I wanted to.
So you could do kind of 2 segments instead of just one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At that point, there started to be editorial pressure on my radars.
Of course.
If you have an old heating or air conditioning system like this,
Of course. Gotta get my YouTube Premium linked up. Shit.
Right? And so tensions were heightening. There was also this push to get guests that were pro-Israel guests, which is fine with me. I mean, like, I understand
Searching under the couch cushions for these people?
Yeah, but the problem is, who are these people, right? So the pro...
Are they paid actors? It could be paid actors. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past corporate media. I just can't put none past them.
Palestine guest would be a historian, a journalist, people with credibility and insight and knowledge. The pro-Israel guest would be some guy who posts a lot about Israel from Israel, who would just get on and basically call me an anti-Semite and a Hamas lover and not offer anything substantive, and then use the clips to try to mount a month-long hate campaign on Twitter to just kind of exhaust me. And so it was very frustrating, but I always said yes to those guests because I was trying to maintain the peace. And as long as I got to talk about what I wanted to talk about, I was willing to take my licks. Eventually, one of these guests was a sister of a hostage who volunteered herself for the show, which I thought was a first red flag, editorially, journalistically. And her, I don't want to mischaracterize her. I don't have the email in front of me. But she specifically said she wanted to come on to debate me, basically, to talk to me.
Right.
Which was clearly a red flag.
And she reached out to the producer.
Yeah, I think she was put up to that shit. I really thought, I don't really, she actually, they gave you your contact information, like somebody on the Hill or something like that, one of those big bosses, put her up to that shit. A ploy to get you fired. But let it continue.
Exactly. And the producer, who I asked, does this seem legitimate to you? There are no other guests you can find? Can you find a Zionist historian, literally anybody who I can ask a question that has some editorial value? But no, she volunteered herself. She came on and very predictably made it personal about me. Okay, I was very happy to talk to her as a human being.
Now, if you are a victim of, your sister as a hostage, you will not go on there to debate Brihna Joy Gray. You'll go on there to plead, Hamas, please, or plead to Israel or Hamas to stop this genocide from happening. It just, that's just ultra suspect. Ultra suspect, man. Not surprised.
Misses her sister about what her sister was like and how horrible it's been for her to miss her as she's been held hostage and what she knows about her health and yada, yada, yada. But at a certain point, she kept politicizing it, right? She kept saying, it's shameful, Brihna, that you don't care about the hostages. All right, well, if you're going to bring up the political question, how do you feel about these protests that have been happening in Israel where hostage family victims are very frustrated that Netanyahu isn't prioritizing hostage release, Well, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about politics. Okay, well, tell me about your sister. What was her favorite food? What did she love to do? I'm happy to talk about that.
Oh, geez.
But eventually it got personalized, and I was feeling very frustrated with our producer, who doesn't step in, who very predictably knew this was going to happen. And at the end of the interview, when she calls me a rape apologist or whatever it was, I don't remember, and I roll my eyes, that was my frustration with the situation.
Yeah, that right there. You see, they use that like, hey, she don't care about the hostages. You know, Bree rolled her eyes. Wow. Yeah, like, yeah, it was a setup, obviously. I'm pretty sure Bree would tell you, yeah, she got set up. Like, yeah. Just...
being exactly what everybody could have predicted it was, and that I was working at an institution that not only wasn't protecting me, was setting me up, frankly.
Right.
It had done so more than once. At the same time, there was all this pressure behind the scenes to basically not talk about Gaza at all. And then I got an email the next day saying that my services were no longer needed.
Probably was not too surprising because there was an incident of this before.
Yes.
With Katie Halper.
Yes.
And I imagine you must have known that to some degree going into the job.
Yeah. So I was at Rising when Katie was, no longer wanted to work with you. However they characterize it. So what was interesting is we were always looking for new hosts, and Katie was being sort of auditioned to be a Friday host. I wanted to work a fewer, less days a week. People go on vacation. You need a deeper roster. And so we were really excited about that. There was also discussion of developing her own show on the program. And what happened with her is that she wrote a radar. It was factual, but the objection was apparently that she had described Israel as an apartheid state, something that is, like, frankly, not that controversial these days because we've pushed the Overton window with October 7th.
Right.
But
yeah, that questions me. Like, I wonder is Rising's producers and the big bosses, I wonder if they Zionists. Obviously, like, how dare you, Katie Halper, talk about Israel's apartheid state? No, Israel has the right to exist. Those type of people, like, deeply unserious, man.
Editorial had a problem. Higher ups at the Hill had a problem, and they pulled it. She offered to talk about it and rewrite it a little bit, as I understand, but they were like, no, and also we never want to work with you again.
Wow.
I would not trust the Hill from an editorial perspective. They are fundamentally committed to a pro-Zionist approach to covering this particular issue.
Right.
And to the extent that there are people who are able to get alternative perspectives on the show, know that they're doing it beleaguered every step of the way.
So a media organization like The Hill, there are certain people who are in place that can gatekeep resources, editorial control, things like this. When you're on your own platform, you upload directly onto, I don't know where you do it, YouTube and whatever RSS feed and so on. No one can get in between you and the stuff that you publish. Did anyone try to come after your podcast after that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There was like a spam. I got like hundreds of emails to page. I think they mistakenly emailed me, like my Patreon email address, instead of like Patreon the business. I'm not saying these are the brightest bulbs in the shed. With a form letter that
Zionists are stupid people.
was from a bunch of different like bot name accounts. Like it looked like it was coming from, but it was the same content that basically said Brianna's an anti-Semite and you should deplatform her from Patreon.
Right.
One of these days, that sort of thing might work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a whole, 2 years ago, there was this whole cycle of people trying to get people kicked off of Substack because of their politics.
Yes. Yeah.
There was this.
Yeah, these are seeing people that try to get my account suspended on Twitter. I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, these motherfuckers are crazy. I'm gonna end it right there. But yeah, y'all, like, not only she got fired from The Hill, which was a great thing because ever since then, Brianna podcast has blown up. Like, like she have banger after banger anyway, and people are supporting her. That's base. And second of all, fucking Zionists, are the same motherfuckers that tried to get her kicked off of Patreon. Like, Patreon is pretty sure her livelihood. See, they not only they fuck with your money, they fuck with your character. Like these people, man. Like, yeah, they try to get me kicked off of Twitter, which Twitter is my biggest platform to do this show and shit. Yeah, but like she said, man, like the Zionist, Zionist. Twitter's a Zionist platform. Elon is a Zionist himself, or Nazi too. So yeah, like, yeah, man, like you speak anything bad against Israel, man. Oh shit, you like these Zionists call you every name out the book. I'm pretty sure they did her the same way they did me because I said fuck Israel like this. Yeah, man, these people are deeply unserious. So, all right, guys, that's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, man, man, these glitches on StreamYard gotta stop, man. Come on, man. But yeah, anyway, shameless plugs. Follow us on Twitter. That's our handles right there. Follow me on Red Note, AndreX24, and also to like the video. Helps out in the algorithm. Cost you a thing. Fuck Israel. Like fuck Zionism too. Yeah. So, all right, y'all. So that wraps up the Good Faith Show. I'm your host Andre Morton signing out. Have a good one. Oh yeah. By the way, I never forget to say this. Fuck Benjamin Netanyahu.